Welcome to the CARAHCAST Data Center Innovation Series, where we dive into the trends and issues shaping the future of data centers in the public sector. I'm your host, CARAHCAST Consulting CTO Scott Robon. Today, we're going to focus on storage and next generation data centers, and we're thrilled to have Jim Cosby, NetApp CTO for Public Sector and Partners, joining us to talk about what he's seeing across his engagements in public sector and U.S. federal data center activity. As we see the continued explosive growth of the role of the data center, we know that storage plays an increasingly understated yet critical role. All the data that's generated and all the data that's used needs to go somewhere. And you might not think about it due to the abundance of storage space today compared to even 5 or 10 years ago. You don't have to worry about your hard drive upgrade like you did way back when. But it's only become a more critical piece of IT infrastructure. Storage has adapted to all sorts of cloud deployment models, private, public, and hybrid, and it's a critical enabler for the AI ecosystem. Jim is going to take us through quite a bit of this today. So Jim, welcome. Thanks for coming on the show. Can you give listeners a little bit on your background and how you got into your role at NetApp?
Sure, Scott. Thank you so much for having me today. I've actually been with NetApp for a little over 20 years now and have a variety of backgrounds, primarily around data and data management, but also security of data. And I've had a variety of roles as well. I was a solutions engineer that helped design and install and build data systems and think about security around that for many years. I was actually an SE leader and ran a team of 3 managers and about 40 people at one point, and really enjoyed helping others learn the craft of data and data security and how to properly configure it, size it, sell it so that it works and secures everything. And then about 5 or 6 years ago, I hopped into the CTO role, which I'm really enjoying because it helps get me closer to the real problem and challenges that customers have. And that's what I do with NetApp today. I help customers understand where NetApp's data-centric security and intelligent data infrastructure capabilities come in. So glad to be here. Thanks.
I love your reference to the craft work of IT. And you're very familiar with it in the storage space. I think others that come from network, compute, application development. There is a certain level of engagement at a craft worker level, and we see that very up close and personal in our careers. So like it just resonated with me. Not necessarily anything we need to dive on, but appreciate you calling it out that way. So.
Yeah, you bet.
So you had a really good framework for thinking about the conversation today. You have multiple pillars that you like to talk about. Why don't you give us an overview of that framework for the storage discussion?
Sure. There's probably 3 main areas I would bring up today that we see people trying to manage data in the industry and do things with that. And the first one would be a high level, what I mentioned earlier, the data infrastructure. Scratch that. I'm messing it up myself. Back up. All right. Yeah, the first one would be in the intelligent data infrastructure area. And that's going to be bringing intelligence to the data, making the data do more with less while keeping it secure, right? So that's going to be able to have that data in any location where the applications are, where the users are, where the mission needs to execute and do that well. Another second pillar that we'll probably talk a little more about would be cyber resilience and ransomware. Sometimes we call that CyRes. That seems to be paramount in everybody's mind today with the proliferation of attacks happening daily and everywhere. We've got to make sure that data is secure. And then another big point of conversation around data is artificial intelligence, or AI. And everybody's trying to figure out how to leverage the data they have and get the most out of that in a short amount of time or a shorter amount of time. And that's what AI is all about. So those are probably 3 of the main ones, Scott.
So we'll keep everybody hanging for the AI topic at the end. Let's just go in the order that you took us through. In terms of modernization and cloud transformation, what are you seeing from a storage perspective there? I gave a little hint of working across cloud models, but it's much more than that.
It is. It is. If you think about cloud, probably coming out in the mid 2000 range, 2005-ish time, 15, 20 years ago, there was a lot of interest in cloud because for years we built these brick and mortar data centers on premise.